From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBIC, the Primetime Capper, and it's time for the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles Live. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. It's Tuesday. We have another weekend. It's the final weekend, Major League Baseball as well, too, this week. And, pretty much we are in full bloom when it comes to the NFL as well, too, and we're not too far away from throwing the good old orange ball up very soon as well, too. So, with that, let's go ahead and talk about what happened last night. The Cowboys crushed the Eagles in home opener 41-21 last night. Dak Prescott looked like an absolute stud. He had himself a game last night. He looked very good. Zeke Elliott also played very well too. So pretty much whatever doubts that people had, if people were thinking there was going to be any type of theater last night, that did not happen. But the Cowboys kind of bailed out. The Eagles did something that nobody saw coming. The Eagles did pass a lot last night. They had about 53 pass plays last night. They had 53 plays last night, and majority of them were pass plays last night. And that was even when the game started as well, too. You look at Hurts' numbers and say, well, 326, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Not too bad of a game, but he did not play well at all. Those are all junk stats as well, too, later on in the game. Cowboys were good, though. They got 380 total yards yesterday. They got a good balance of rushing and passing as well, too, last night. And you know what? Dak just had himself a really good game, and they didn't stray away from their game plan either, even though, there was some even though that line does need to shore up. Dak was sacked 4 times last night, but no big deal. He had himself at the end of the day, they had themselves a game of games. You know what I mean? So pretty much Zeke bounced back last night. We didn't have to talk too much about Tony Pollard, who still had a good game last night with 60 yards on the ground, but Zeke was able to get 95 on the ground last night and 21 yards through the air as well, too. So that was a very good night for Zeke on both accords and helping his team get the victory. And I would think that if you're Dallas and you're winning football games, why not have 2 very good running backs in the backfield to help you win football games? It seems like every successful team in the NFL is doing that nowadays. So let's go ahead and see exactly, pretty much what the feels would be with that. And I think the Cowboys, that's exactly what they wanted to be. They want to have a balanced attack, and they were almost perfect last night. 41-21, Dallas goes ahead and proves the 2-1, are now 1-0 in the NFC East as well, too, and kind of went ahead and beat up on the team that you would think would give them the most issues moving forward this season. All right, so we move on and we have ourselves some basketball talk. We got Ben Simmons, who seems to just be very hell-bent on leaving Philadelphia at this point. He does not see himself coming back to that team at all. And it's then you start asking yourself, where is his best fit going to be when it comes down to it with this team? So I would say this: if you're Miami, you might want to go ahead and do something with that and maybe go ahead and see if you can get this very, very good player. I think that Philadelphia was always a bad fit for Ben Simmons and his type of game and his type of attitude. The guy's from Australia. He really doesn't understand like how it really works over here in the States. I don't think he does, because the thing is, Philly, you got to be tough, man. Fans are going to get on you even when you win in that city. So, pretty much he didn't step up to the plate at the biggest moment for the team. And, they had a golden opportunity to be in the NBA Finals and possibly win the NBA Finals as well. And it just didn't occur because they came up short. They didn't play well in the Atlanta series, and he had a lot of the brunt of it because of what, pretty much what was happening moving forward with the series, man. And Joel Embiid had himself a great series, but you needed Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is 6'11", and he's running the point guard position. You guys are supposed to have this twin tower, perimeter inside situation going in. It's just never has really came to fruition. So, pretty much I think right now it's time to move on. I think the best place for Ben Simmons has to be Miami. Miami would be a great spot for this guy. I think that if they're able to make themselves, if Miami really wants to be one of those teams in the Eastern Conference, they would go and acquire a Ben Simmons. And then, you got Pat Riley upstairs who can always go ahead and give you some very sound advice as well, too. So I think Ben Simmons pretty much has his mind made up. I don't see him playing in Philadelphia ever again. And it happens because some people just they can't stand the Philly the Philly base and the Philly situation itself. Ask Charles Barkley, who still shows a lot of love to him on TV 20 some odd years later. But when he was playing for the 76ers, they were at odds a lot. So pretty much, you thank him for bringing you into the NBA, but at the end of the day, though, you know that your career is going to really be made somewhere else. And I think Ben Simmons is in that same category as well, too. And talking about Charles Barkley, Phoenix wouldn't be that bad of a spot either because, honestly, just think about it. But I know that this probably will be a big long shot because I would say you could move Ben Simmons for Chris Paul, but you can't. Chris Paul and Doc Rivers don't get along, so you're not going to be able to have that happen. So you got it. So we can nix that idea. But there's plenty of places for Simmons to go. I think that the right deal will be made. I think the 76ers got to stop asking for a king's ransom for a guy who can't shoot. You know what I mean? They need to figure out a way to make a fair trade to where they get somewhat the equal value of what Ben Simmons is and just move forward from there. You don't have to hold on to this guy. Now you don't have to worry about overpaying a guy that doesn't want to be there. So, at the end of the day, sometimes these NBA teams got to stop playing. They got to stop holding these guys hostage. If they want to go, let them go. And I think that those two teams I just named for your pretty good options because those are winning teams right now. But if you want to really, really mess them up, you could send them to OKC. They got a bunch of picks that they can send over to you. Also, you maybe I don't know. This sounds a little crazy right now, but Memphis wouldn't be too bad of a deal. I think that he would do real well with Ja Morant. And then just think about this as well too. Maybe quite possibly a Portland deal can come into place because I think that Dame Lillard, this would be the deal that could get Dame Lillard moved from Portland because there is a player of somewhat equal value. He doesn't shoot the ball as well as Dame Lillard, but he would be able to still fill that star role that they need, So, hey, there's plenty of options out there for Ben Simmons. It just depends on how satisfied the Sixers can be with deals that they didn't really envision themselves making. You know what I mean? So pretty much we move on and let's talk about college football. Clemson is officially out of the CFP first time in almost a decade. They lost a very, very crucial game yesterday. Not yesterday, but on Saturday. Georgia Tech scored the monumental win. That was huge. They hadn't been beaten the conference in I don't know how long. I don't think they've been beaten in the conference in the last 7 years, to be honest with you. I think last time they lost, it was the Syracuse game, and that's when they had the quarterback who was replaced later on by Trevor Lawrence. So Trevor Lawrence never lost a conference game. I don't recall Deshaun Jackson losing a conference game either. But it's a new day at Clemson. I told you guys this last year that Clemson wasn't going to keep being this steady force because eventually, if your conference isn't putting up these great teams anymore to really challenge you, then things get a little rough when you get down there to the CFP. And, Clemson has a lot of guys who stuck around for a long time at that school, and a lot of those guys are not there anymore. So it's a rebuild situation. You set up the season against Georgia. That was no good for you. Georgia absolutely dominated Clemson. Then Clemson runs into 2 overtime games in a row, and then they get the stigma and they get the loss in the last one. They haven't been dominant all season. This is a new day at Clemson. A lot of us didn't expect that. A lot of us didn't assume that Clemson was going to be, I'm not going to call them bad, but right now they're not playing Clemson football. So Clemson officially out of the CFP. You don't have to worry about it being a redundant Final Four this year with Alabama and Clemson and 2 other participants, either Ohio State or the field, or whomever, which blue blood they feel like throwing in there. But I think this gives the CFP a little bit more parity this year. It makes that the voters work a little bit harder this year to make sure that they put the right teams in here at the end of the year, in my opinion. But Clemson, I wouldn't say their dynasty's over, but I would say right now, though, that this is going to be a very long season for this team, because now the expectations of being a national champion has been taken away from me. So pretty much there it is for my 2 cents to start off the show today. I'll be right back in a few moments with some more baseball. Going to be talking some Dodgers right now with the Blue Crew Daily. Also, going to be talking about my pick 6 group as well too today. So you guys stay tuned. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles Live with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and I'll be right back at you.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we're back with the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles Live with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. And let's get into it. The Dodgers are at their last 6 games of the season, and they're looking at everything as a must-win situation here. The Dodgers really can't take any losses here in the last 6 days. They are still 2 games back, but congratulations to the Dodgers, though. They've won 100 games this year, and that's a great feat for any team. But they're chasing a team that's won 102 games this year, so they are in a situation now where the Dodgers have to hopefully win the last 4 out of 6 here, and they gotta win, pretty much win out. And then the Giants just have to win, it looks like 4 games here this week, and they'll be good to go. And I think they'll be able to take care of their business. But all in all, though, the Dodgers can still catch them. It just depends on how things work out. The Giants are actually in a pretty good spot because they get to play against the Diamondbacks. They close up against the Padres this weekend as well too. The Dodgers have to play the Padres next 3 days, Tuesday through Thursday. Then they host the Milwaukee Brewers to close out the season. Milwaukee is the 3rd best team in baseball right now, so that's going to be a little difficult to try to catch up with the Giants this weekend. But you know what? The Brewers don't have much to play for. They've been clinched their division. they're not really holding anybody off at this point, even though you have a red hot Cardinals team. But the Dodgers do go into tonight's game very focused on the task at hand. But at the end of the day, this is going to just make them a better team if they have to go the long way, as I like to say. Walker Buehler, 14-4 on the year, 2.58 ERA, 196 over 48. Absolutely tremendous. The Dodgers, the number one team when it comes to pitching this year as well, too. This looks like a game the Dodgers can easily win, but they did have their issues with Yu Darvish, who absolutely blew them away in San Diego earlier this year. So they will want to get on here and beat up on their former teammate here. And I think that tonight's game will wind up being one of those games that the Dodgers do kind of explode offensively to keep things intact. And I think what happens here, you get an over 7.5, and the Dodgers could quite possibly win this game by 2 or more runs. So with that, there it is for the Dodgers for today. We'll talk a little bit more about them tomorrow after we see what the results are for tonight. We move forward and talk about today's prime time players. And up first is very, very, very important game in the American League and in the wild card race, where you have the Yankees coming in here plus 110 today, going against the Blue Jays, who right now are minus 130. The Blue Jays have Ryu on the mound today, and you have the Yanks with James Tallien on the mound. So James Tallien's pitched much better in the second half of the year than he did the first half of the year. And then Ryu has not been as effective as he was to start the year off. He's been good, but he's very hittable as well, too. So you got two of the best hitting teams in baseball going at it today. And, pretty much Toronto has more pressure on them to really show up this week because they're trying to overtake either the Red Sox or the Yankees right now. And at this point right now, they're just a half a game back of the Boston Red Sox. So it would be good for them to get a big win today over the Yankees, but it's going to be tough because the Yankees know what time it is, and they know that they have to keep their eyes on the prize, and that means getting that first wild card spot. It doesn't really matter who's behind them at this point. They have to stay afloat. And this is absolutely nuts because you have Seattle now sitting at 87 and 70. So you have 4 teams vying for 2 spots. So this is going to be fun this week to see how everything shakes out. Okay, so tonight, I think the Yankees should be really good. I think that they should take care of their business, and I think that the Blue Jays will probably be an over bet. That's why I like the Yankees a bit more tonight. So that's where I'm going with this, and let's go ahead and check out our next game. Big game here. This is going to be between the Phillies and the Braves. The Phillies coming in here 81 to 75. Braves are 83 and 72. The Braves are actually 2.5 games ahead of the Phillies now. The Phillies need to try to eat into this lead this week so they can see about having a monster series this weekend with the Braves, because as I told you guys before, that the Braves and Phillies have a face-off situation here, and hopefully everything works out to the point to where this can be something huge for the MLB, because we all love seeing seasons come down to it. And I got a little confused. The Phillies are not going to play them the final weekend. They're actually playing the Mets. So this 3-game stretch against Atlanta at home is very crucial, and they need to be on their A game here. If they can sweep here, they will have a half game lead. If they were able to win 2 out of 3, they would be a half game back going into the weekend. But this is going to be tough. If they lose, I think 1 game in the series, this series is just about their season is just about over. But all in all, this is baseball. We've seen so many exciting things in the sport. I expect nothing but great things to happen here this week in this series. Now we move on. We have the Brewers and the Cards, 2 teams looking at getting into the playoffs at this point. You have the Brewers. Ben ran away with the NL Central, and then you have the Cardinals, the can't lose kids right now. They just been absolutely crushing the MLB. They have won 17 games in a row and counting. And they sweep after sweep after sweep. They after the Dodgers series and losing to this Cincinnati, they haven't lost a game since September 10th. So this team is playing on a different level right now, and they are playing up to task as well to get to the playoffs. And they look like the most dangerous team coming. And pretty much they have Milwaukee here and the Cubs to close out the season. Milwaukee is kind of chilling right now. They've already won their games. They've already clinched, so they're not too worried about it, and they're well ahead to the point to where all it takes is one or two more games before they start having their NL Central party. So this should be a good game tonight. Good pitchers going at it on the mound and on both sides. You got Adam Wainwright starting for the Cardinals, the savvy vet, 16-7. Then you have Brandon Woodruff, who's seen as somewhat the ace for the Brewers. He has a losing season, but that doesn't mean anything. He's not getting as much run support as he should because the ERA calls for that as well, too, 2.52. And then you have a strikeout rate that's very good. His whip is 0.95. He's 208 over 43. He's 208 strikes over 43 walks. So this is pretty good. This sets up a pretty good matchup tonight. It should be a lot of fun. I feel like we get a pitcher's duel here. So we move forward and we check out our interleague matchup for tonight. We got the Reds coming in here plus 150. The Reds are debuting a guy tonight. Let's double check and make sure he's making his debut because they are bringing in a guy tonight who has nothing going on. Looks like his first. Yep, and it's going to be his first game of the season pitching Riley O'Brien. And he's going to be going against Reynaldo Lopez, the veteran. Reynaldo Lopez, 3-3 on the season. Last time out, gave up 2 runs, struck out 4 over 3.1 innings when they faced off with the Indians. Game before that, he got absolutely walloped by the Angels over 4 innings. So this guy can get hit fairly quickly and fairly easily as well, too. So I think that this should be a really good spot for the Reds to surprise a lot of us. I don't say they win. I just say they keep the game very, very close. So that's where I'm going with this one right there. And then we move on to the Rays and the Astros. This is a possible playoff ALCS preview. And we do remember that both these teams did play in the ALCS last year as well, too. The Rays won in dramatic fashion in a very, very good, fun game that went back and forth for like literally the whole game. And it was a series that went back and forth as well, too. The Astros, that's heavy on their mind, and they have your cutie on the mound today. 81 strikeouts over 17 walks with Michael Wacha, 113 strikeouts over 28 walks, who's pitching for Tampa Bay today, the former Cardinal. You have the best hitting team in baseball in the Astros, and then you have one of the best pitching teams in baseball in the Rays. So this should set up for a pretty fun, pretty unique matchup. But I think tonight, though, with the 2 pitchers that you have on the mound, you should see some fireworks here. And I think that we're in for a very good game tonight. And I think that we're going to get some scoring on both sides tonight as well, too. So I really do like the over in this spot. So let's go ahead and move on and get into the A's and the Mariners. And it looks like the Mariners are literally ending the A's season right now as we speak. They're actually 2 games ahead of them. Moving forward, and then as you can see, the Astros haven't yet clinched the AL West. So if there was some type of epic collapse, it could be a Mariners Astros playoff game as well too Monday. But we'll see how it goes. I think that the Astros will have enough to withstand things, and the Mariners can keep their hopes alive because they still have an opportunity to clinch the wild card as well too. So this is a big week for the Mariners. The Mariners already started off the series with the A's in fun fashion with them winning by a lot last night, 13-4. So tonight they try to come into this one with the same intensity and try to get the same result, a victory. So Mariners, let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. But I think the A's might be a bit much for them tonight. The A's have one of their better pitchers on the mound as well, too. And the A's do present value in this spot that I'm choosing them at as well, too. So I think that the A's can go ahead and actually win this one by 2 or more runs. I think the Mariners are going to put a little bit too much pressure on themselves tonight. So there it is. There it is with my MLB preview. Let's go ahead and check out my Talkin Tickets. And with Talkin Tickets today, we have the PrimeTime PK6, 62-1 Yankees plus 110. The Phillies are plus 100. You have the under 7 with the Brewers and the Cards, the plus 1.5 with the Reds today, the over 9 with the Astros, and the minus 1.5 with the A's. The A's do present some really good value today as well, too, just to give you guys a heads up. So I really do like that spot right there, and I really like what we can get into today. That's a 62-1 ticket. That means that if you are able to put $20 on it, it'll be $12.40 if we do hit that ticket as well, too. And you should never hesitate to play my tickets that I put out. We did hit a 42-1 in the NFL on the dog day pick 4 on Sunday. So I'm looking for some more. I'm looking to hit some more tickets. So you guys, if you play along, go ahead. If you guys want to fade it, do that as well too. It's nothing to it. As long as you're betting and we're making some money, that's what matters, right? So there it is at the end of the day. So pretty much I want to thank you guys very much for tuning in to the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Eagles Live, with your host, the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. And as I always say, if you got a hunch, bet a bunch. Bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving. And I'll be back to you tomorrow. I have my man Mike Abadir here with me, and we'll be talking Raiders 3-0 and all types of other fun stuff. So you guys make sure to tune in, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. And I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production